Hey everybody, welcome back. So I'm going to be making my own seed starting / potting mix. So in the past few years, especially since COVID hit, when I bought some potting mix, it was, let's say, not quite what it used to be. So it's been very disappointing the past few years. Even like I'll buy like the Miracle-Gro potting soil, which used to be very, very fine and a very nice mix, and it is not panning out to be so great anymore. So I've decided to try to make my own seed starting mix. So before the end of the season last year, I told myself, just do it, just go for it and do it. And I wanted to make sure I bought my own product before the end of last season, because I predominantly can't find a lot of this stuff in the stores in my area right now, because we're like another month out in my area. About once March hits, then they start like just slowly putting out stuff for gardening. Well, I need to be ready in February to be prepared to start some seedlings. So I don't want to be behind the 8 ball and have to buy that junk anymore. So I'm going to try my hand at making my own. So before the year was up, I bought some peat moss, vermiculite, and perlite, because really that's all it is. Now it was, I don't know how much the peat moss was, but it wasn't very expensive in my area. The perlite and the vermiculite, I mean, these are upside down. The vermiculite, thankfully there's a sticker on it, was $60 for this 2 cubic foot bag, and $49 for this 2 cubic foot bag of perlite. But these 2 bags are going to last me a very, very, very long time, because there's only probably about 15% of vermiculite and 15% of perlite in the whole mix. So this is going to last me a really long time. So I feel like this is a pretty decent investment. So really, the reason for perlite is, I can't say it's not styrofoam, but it has styrofoam-like properties. It's actually just like volcanic rock, like mashed down, and it's not supposed to hold water. All the perlite is there to do is to hold space so that so it helps with drainage. So that's what the perlite's for. And then the vermiculite is the same thing. It's just this volcanic rock that's crushed down, and it is, in a sense, kind of has more surface structures, so it can absorb water and retain nutrients in water better and help feed the plants in the soil. And then the peat moss is just a growing medium. So there's really no food in this, but I'm going to put a little bit of worm castings. You don't want to put any fertilizers in any of your seed starting mix, because they don't need that right now. I might play around with that a little bit in some maybe teas or something once things start growing. But right now, some worm castings, a little bit in the seed starting mix will be absolutely plenty. So I'm going to try my hand at this. This is my handy dandy bucket. I'm going to mix everything in dry and just have the bucket available for me, so that as I start putting more seeds in, then it's just available. I can just scoop it and go. So we're out on my front porch that I cleaned, and my trays and everything are dry. So I still have to sit down today and figure out what's my next step. How many weeks before I can do anything, and I'm kind of hoping I can maybe start a few seeds this weekend. It's still really early yet in my area. I'm in upstate New York. I'm about an hour north of Albany, so it's still going to be relatively cold for, I don't know, we got, when was it? It was I know, I'm aging myself here. My son's first birthday was 2007, St. Patrick's Day. And we got like I don't know, 3 feet, 4 feet of snow up here. So that's just to say we can still get snow up here all the way into the end of March or early April, which obviously that hasn't happened in a long time, but still, it still can be treacherous around here. So I'm going to doll this out and try my hand at this and see if I can figure out 15% of this bucket. I don't know. Don't come at me with numbers and percentages. I'm gonna eyeball it, and hopefully, I'm gonna err on the vermiculite and perlite side of a little bit less than too much. So here we go. There we have it. That was pretty easy. I mean, that looks like some nice seed starting mix. It's very light. I put it together dry because I'm not gonna, I say I'm not gonna do anything with it today, but I may do something with it today. But if I do, I'll take it out in little, like in a little bowl or little container, and then wet it, because you want to like pre-moisten your soil before you use it, because that way if you put this potting mix in, or seed starting mix, whatever you want to call it, if you just put it in the seed cells and then plant the seed and then water it, the water's going to run around it. It's not necessarily going to water every part of the soil. So that's why you just lightly pre-moisten it, so then it can absorb the water as you water it. Doesn't mean it's not going to dry out and it's not going to have trouble, but at least in the start, that'll work really good. So let's see what my notebook says. All right, so we're going to go for the Gusto. I'm definitely going to plant peppers, only because they take a really long time to germinate. They take a really long time to grow, and I will show you in just a bit of where I'm going to put them. But for the sake of this experiment, we're going to, Kara and I, are going to fill up both of these full seed trays of some different flowers and some herbs, and we're going to see how well they do. So I've decided to put this little table here and hang a couple of my shorter grow lights. This is a south-facing window. So for the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll put these here and see what we get. Okay, so here is their new home. And, ready? Oh, and my other one's over here. I mean, it's not the most ideal situation, but I think it's a good little spot. This is south facing all day, so this, and I put the heat mats underneath for the nighttime. I don't have lids for these because, again, these are 4 inches high and it's just too tall to put the domes on them. But I think they'll be all right because they are in the house. So lots of flowers, lots of herbs. I like their new little space. I think they'll be happy, right? I don't know, give it a try. This is the first time I put something in the house, so we'll see how it goes. So, as always, from my coop to yours, thank you for growing with me so I can grow with you.